गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Today we will be talking on the topic the dynamics of social change. Constant change is the only unchanging reality in the relative world. Our life is impossible in the relative world without our involvement with other members of the society. If somebody imagines that I want to live in this world all by myself, completely isolated from the totality, it is just not possible. And this principle, dependence of the individual on the totality, is the foundation of the story of life. For example, take our own life. We have got different components in our personality: the component of earth, the component of water, the component of fire, air and space. Now, these individual components which have gone into the formation of our individual existence must have its contact with the totality. Our individual gross body cannot exist without its contact with the total gross body, the earth, and therefore we have to take food. Similarly, the individual water contents of our body have to be in touch with, in connection with, supported by the total water principle of the world, and so on. Therefore, the principle established is, in the relative existence, our existence is in relation to each other. And this social structure begins in the life of every individual from the day he or she is conceived. See, our life doesn't begin only after birth in this world, but our life begins even when we are conceived in the mother's womb. From then onward, our life begins. And from this point onwards, the change in our life starts influencing us depending upon how the change is brought about. About this, I'll give you one or two examples to make this point. See, we are all influenced by the environment around us. Like a simple example, the other day I was in Bombay and my body doesn't take heat at all. Last about 5-7 years, little bit of temperature goes high, immediately the blood pressure falls and I am unable to function. So that day probably the temperature was very high. I didn't realize. I didn't start the AC. I didn't start the fan. And that whole day I just couldn't understand what is happening. Neither I could read anything, nor I could write anything, nor I could do my email. Everything was kind of a stagnation. So the whole day spent like that. And then at night I realized that I have been sitting in a room which was a hot air oven, and neither the fan was started nor the AC was started, and had not taken sufficient quantity of water. As a result, the whole system was upset. So the environment has a direct impact on our existence first. Now this direct impact on our existence begins from our prenatal existence. Prenatal existence means before we are born. The other day when I was coming here, one educated lady, she is herself a gynecologist in Bombay. She came, did namaskar, chamatkar and all that, and said, Swamiji, I want to tell you. So what is that? You told me once that one child is not enough, you should get a second one. So I have come to tell you, Swamiji, now I am carrying for the second time, please bless me. I said, very good, congratulations. Then although she is so educated, she asked a question. Swamiji, please guide me what I should do now during this period of prenatal motherhood. I said, Mama, you are educated, you are a gynecologist. He said, no, don't tell me all that. You please tell me. I am having a concern about the baby in me. Then I told her, I said, look here. Basic principle you understand, then everything will be understood. This is the time when the vibrations in the matter that you are, and you are carrying that fetus or the embryo or the child in your womb, if it is subjected to negative kind of vibrations, that impact is distinctly percolated and conveyed to the child. And as a result, you will be responsible to a great extent for the type of child that will come out. And therefore, it is necessary that this is the time when you should have a very peaceful disposition and expose yourself to such thoughts which are creative, which are loving, which are cheerful, which are joyful. In our scriptures also a story comes like this. This Prahlada was born to the Hiranyakashipu's wife, whose name was Kayadu. And Hiranyakashipu was a Rakshasa, a very terrible monster kind of person. And when his wife was taken away by Narada, during that prenatal period, Narada was talking all the time about the divine glory, and as a result, when the baby was born, although he was born in a terrible family of the Rakshasas, his whole attitude towards life was not that of cruelty and imposition of our views, but that of love and adjustment. So, the rule is therefore, the environment starts affecting us in our life right from the prenatal state onward. And when we are thus born, to create an ideal person out of us, there are many stations where different kinds of samskara, different kinds of adjustments in our psychological personality are made. And this is how we slowly develop into a person. Now about this I'll tell you an example again. See, when you talk to a child, what is that which the child can understand the most and very intimately? He is the parents. So if I have to talk to a child and inspire him or tell him, create a kind of self-respect in himself so that he grows into a mature and a person with commitment in life. If this I have to bring out in a child, what will I do? I will try to create respect in his mind about his own existence. We all are born in this world out of parents. And if I am proud of to be the child of a particular pair of parents, thereafter my whole life will be lived in that self-respect and the pride of what I am. If we have no self-respect and the pride of what I am, our life will be so much influenced by the vagaries and the change in the world in a negative manner that we will become a source of destruction to the society. Therefore, the dynamics of the social change is that we change ourselves during our formative years in such a manner that we end up into a committed, self-respected personality which is not vulnerable to the vagaries of change in the society. About this, I'll give one or two examples. Once I was in Nepal, about 10-15 years before, staying in a Nepali family, and there was a girl, a small girl, maybe about 7th standard or 6th standard, and she used to spend some time with me. One day I asked her, hey, kindly tell me something about your culture. What exactly Nepalese culture is? I know Nepalis are Hindus, you are also Hindu, so kindly tell me something about it. I was so surprised to hear the first statement from the mouth of that child. That girl said, Swamiji, I hate to be called as a Nepali. I said, don't tell me further, enough. And then I told her, look here, in this world, your Mongolian eyes, your round face, will always declare whether you want or you don't want that you are a Nepali. And throughout your life, you will be living by self-hatred. I hate why I am born as a Nepali. What is the result? Result will be you will always lead a life of revolt. Friends, when we lead a life of revolt, we are extremely vulnerable to the wrong influences of bad elements in the society. Therefore, before the society starts influencing us in a negative manner, it is necessary that we develop ourselves into a self-respecting, strong person which is resistant enough to the influence of the infections of negativity in the society. Now take for example, if you see these terrorists these days everywhere, or the Naxalites, you know these terrorists or the Naxalites, they are all healthy people as regard the physical aspect is concerned. You can never imagine that there is a terrorist going with a big thick glass and then he is trying to aim at somebody and his glass has fallen down. No, they are physically very fit. Second thing, they have got tremendous commitment. Without the commitment for the cause, nobody will act as a suicide bomber. So, they have got all the things with them, yet there is something wrong. And what is that something wrong? The energy that they have is lacking the direction of the wisdom for what that energy has to be used. And this is where the dynamics of our existence and the social change starts becoming very much influential in our life. Therefore, it is necessary that when we are developing ourselves, this is one aspect we have to be very clear in our life, and that is developing a personality which is strong enough, resistant enough to stand to the influence of any negative force around us. Now, how this can happen and what are the ingredients of this? Now see, we have different layers of personality. The first is the wealth that we have. We imagine that money can buy everything and money is the most strong power. But at times we come to a conclusion that it is not true. Then the second is the physical power that we have. We feel that physically if we are strong, we can manage the things. But this does not happen in all the conditions. Third thing, we imagine that emotionally we can corrupt somebody and blackmail. But this does not apply in all the situations in life. And the fourth is, we feel we are intelligent enough to deceive the world and cheat. But this is never a success in all the cases. And the last one is, when you are all alone, when there is nobody around you, when there is total freedom for you to live your life, when you have got all the temptations of the world available to you, when you have got all the strength to indulge into temptations, and that time if you have to have the self-control on yourself so that you do not fall victim to the worldly objects, that time the real strength is the strength of your own self. So when the society is interacting with us and we are interacting with the society, here this is the most important aspect. Are we weaklings or we are strong enough to sustain the influence of the society? See, take one or two examples. There was once a person came, very nice, strong person, and he said, Swamiji, I want to have counseling with you. I said, what counseling? Talk straight away. No, not before everybody. So I was in the other room. He came and he said, Swamiji, please don't talk this example to anybody. I said, I will talk. If you don't want to tell, don't tell. I have not come to you, you have come to me. Now what will I use this material for? I know. At least don't tell my name. I said, okay, I will not tell your name. I never tell the name. And then he started about his problems of life. And while telling small little problems, he broke and started crying and destroyed my hanky. He said, take this thing. And then he says, Swamiji, I have been a regular reader of Ramcharitmanas. I do japa Om Namah Shivaya. I go to the temples. I have looked after my parents. I take care of my family very well. Yet, why all these problems come to me? Why me? Conclusion was, why me? So after hearing his all pathetic story from his point of view and comedy from my point of view, so I told him, and he said, but why me, Swamiji? I said, why not you? See, when we have this approach, why me? That means we are slowly succumbing to the influence of the world. And second thing, people use another term. The world is too much for me. The world is very strong, impossible to face. Now see both these things put together. The world becomes strong when we are weak. The world is not strong. You all must be knowing that famous story. In a classroom, the teacher drawn one line on the blackboard, on a blackboard here. Here is a blackboard. Sometimes it is a green board. So on the blackboard, a line was drawn. And then He told, come on, shorten this line without touching the line. So how can you shorten the line without touching the line? So as a child, a smart student came, took the chalk stick and drew a longer line. So short and long, strong and weak, these are in relation to each other. There is nothing like absolute short or absolute long. There is nothing like absolute happiness or absolute misery. There is nothing like absolute success or absolute failure. These are all in relation to each other. Now, when we are living in the society, in relation to the society, now we have a relative existence and we have no choice. That whether we want to live in the society or not, we have no choice. We have to, and we will gather society around us. Like, many people, they take to sannyas. What is the sannyas? Sannyas is withdrawal from the total world and focusing attention on the absolute. Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, Dehanyaso hi sannyasaha naiva kashaya vasasa. Renunciation of the body identification is the real sannyas and not by changing the color of the clothes. Yet we take to sannyas and now I don't want anything other than the God. So withdraw and thereafter start a ashram and again spread. See? We have withdrawn from the world so that we will merge into the absolute reality. But after having done, but we have not prepared ourselves properly. So earlier, as a grahastha, a married person, I would have gone to the market and purchased half a kilo of lady's finger and come back. Now as a Babaji, a big ashram, hundreds of people to feed, instead of going on a bicycle with a bag, I go with a truck and bring half a truckload of the Jane's finger, gajar. That relative existence will not disappear. So if we have to live in this relative world, the most important thing is we live in this relative world, but we become so strong enough that the negative vibes of the relative world are not able to influence us. Now, when this happens, then we are adjusting ourselves to the dynamics of social change. Now here, one very important principle. See, in Bhagavad Gita, there are two places where two important themes are disclosed. First in the 4th chapter, second in the 6th chapter. In the 4th chapter, the teacher Lord Bhagavan Krishna says that whenever there is a need for change in the society, and when the balance of the righteousness and unrighteousness is getting disturbed, that time I shall come down in this world and set right the whole thing. Who is saying this thing? The one who has created this world. So the one who has created this world, he knows better how to handle his world, how to maintain his world, isn't it? Suppose I have got, let us take a Sony camera. Now the perfect functioning of this particular camera will be known by whom? By the company who manufactured it, and along with there is a manual. According to that only it can do. In the same manner, this whole world social order is created by the Lord. He will take care. Then what should we do? In the 6th chapter, the teacher says, Uddhared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet. We are in this world to improve upon ourselves. And when we are improving upon ourselves, when we become more fit instrument, then only the Lord will select us, so that His functions or His project will be executed through us. See how simple it is. Normally what happens in this social change, we take up the position of a social reformer. If you see the whole world, all the social reformers who have come to save the world, they were shaved off. The world is as it is. You know, in Bombay, there used to be one Mahatma, a great one, and he was in the first union ministry. All the great ministers used to be at his feet, and he was a Avadhut. His name was Gadge Baba. And unlike the routine Mahatmas, he used to put on very funny kind of clown clothes. You know, the earlier days, you must have seen or may not be, the elders in the house used to put on the night dress with that patta wala pajama. Now that you don't see everywhere now. Earlier it used to be there, you know, long patta wala, strips long pajama. So he used to put on that kind of pajama, torn one, and put on the torn socks and the PT shoes and a funny kind of cloth around his head and one earthen pot on his head, and he used to tie it down. That was all that he had, and as a staff he used to have one jhadu, one broom. But he was respected by all the great people of the country that time. And he was established in the truth, leading a life of total austerities. He has done so much good for the world. And one project he has taken in his life, to teach cleanliness to the people of the lower caste. He belonged to the lower caste. So wherever there is to be a lot of gatherings like melas and yatra, before that he used to go, dust it, clean it, broom it out the whole area. And then he will make nice lines and properly, well organized, good layout, and there it should happen. His whole life he spent only in this. Afterwards, when he died, we are Mera Bharat Mahan. Nothing can change us. We are like that. So friends, what is important is, in this world, we improve upon ourselves. Now you are in this college, and suppose I am teaching you any subject, like whatever subject I am teaching you, or say mathematics or physics or chemistry. Now when you are listening to me, where is your attention? Whether you understand or not. Will anybody get up in between and say, sir, she has not understood, will you please explain? No. In this world we have come to learn ourselves and grow. That is the purpose of our arrival. And then when we grow, and grow what? Grow not by age, when we grow wise. Such wise people are the ideal example from whom others learn. In a process of education, learning is more important than teaching. See, this word Guru, you must have heard 100 times. Many people ask us, Swamiji, what is Guru? What is Guru? Can you become my Guru? One person asked me, Swamiji, I have adopted you as my Guru. So, what is this Guru, Guru, Guru? Is it a person outside standing with a stick in the hand and make you straight? No. It is your readiness and the ability to change so that you become a more fit instrument to live in this society and thereafter become an ideal for others to follow. That is the dynamics of social change. Our very presence must create an awareness of change around us. See, in the 3rd chapter of Gita, this principle is brought out. There in 21st verse, if I remember correctly, The teacher says, Yadyadacharati sreshtaha tat tadevetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanu vartate. Whatever an elderly person is demonstrating in his life, that is taken as an ideal by the followers and immediately followed as it is. And second thing, sayat pramanam kurute, and whatever he authenticates as the right concept of living life, that right concept is accepted by the followers. So there are two things. One is our lifestyle, how we live in this world, and second is the principle of philosophy that we have adopted in our life to convert into wisdom. Pramana is this. Now the question is, it is for the senior people. Sreshta, the senior should know. Every one of us is an ideal for somebody or the other. This principle I learned once. I was going by car somewhere and a traffic light, so we had to stop. And there was a parked scooter, three-wheeler auto rickshaw, and there was a small child, 5 years, 6 years. He was sitting on the seat and just imagining that he is driving the auto rickshaw. So I started talking to him. I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" He said, "Don't you see me that I am running the auto rickshaw? Hat jao." He was in that terrible mood. I said, "What do you want to become when you become big?" "When I become big, I want to become same like my father is an auto rickshaw driver. I want to be also like that." See, for you and me, auto rickshaw driver, who will make him as an ideal of life? But he has somebody who is looking up to him. In the same manner, each one of us is knowingly, unknowingly an ideal for someone who is looking up to us. We may not be knowing, but there is someone somewhere. And therefore, it is our moral responsibility that we do not deceive that person who is looking up to us as an ideal. You know, the highest crime that we can think of in a society is when I respect, revere somebody, and that altar of respect, of reverence has become corrupted because something or the other. I collapse because my support is taken away. See? Therefore, when we think about the dynamics of social change, it must begin from us with this awareness that when we are walking, when we are talking, when we are discussing, when we are dressing, when we are addressing, the whole world is observing us. See, when I was like you in a school, we used to have NCC. Do you have NCC here? Okay. So we used to have ACC, NCC. Long time. That was the time just started in India. And one captain or major is to come and teach us. And I still remember his 2 words. One day one of the students came with the uniform, but not properly ironed. Probably he must have just taken out from the wash thing and put on, and just somehow came from the sleep like that. So he pulled that student in front of the whole cadets. And then he called another student who was properly dressed, neatly, perfectly dressed. And he said, "Now watch these 2 students. Who is the one whom you like the best between the 2? Naturally, anybody will say well-dressed person is the best one." Then he said, "Look here, my dear child, I have not brought you here to humiliate and to make you feel bad, but to tell one big important principle of life. how you dress and how you address determines your quality of thoughts. See? Suppose I come over here with a shirt which is having a huge face of a tiger. Or I am sitting here with the earrings. And which are the earrings? The plastic skeletons. Once I was in States, I was waiting outside. My friend went to buy something. And then again he said, Swami, please come, I want to show you something. I said, Baba, I don't want, I am happy over here. Please come, Swamiji, for 2 minutes. So I got down out of the car and went inside. And he said, look at this sales girl. I said, what is there to look at? Swamiji, look at, see her earrings. Then I saw, from the ear, the human skeletons made out of plastic, they were hanging. And the necklace was of different bones and all that, and few skulls were hanging. Yes, what can I do for you? And all those fellows were dying. Like imagine, if I am coming before you in this kind of attire, the very purpose of my coming will be defeated. Therefore, these are very small things. Yadyadacharati sreshtaha. How we dress and how we address. Address is always with reference to the contents of thoughts and wisdom that we have. And when we become aware about this, self-awareness is the best teacher that anybody can have in life. We become self-conscious. We don't become self-aware. When we become self-conscious, we start behaving in a funny manner. Isn't it? For example, this example I have done experiment in Delhi. You must have seen that Siri auditorium, a very big one. So huge gathering and a big stage. And then there was a lamp post in the other corner. So I told one girl, I said, hey, kindly go and see whether sufficient oil is there or not, and whether there is the camphor on the tip of the wick is there or not. I knew I had kept it, but I just wanted to tell this girl about particular lesson. So when she has to all alone walk the huge stage across, the whole audience is sitting and waiting for some program to start, and this one girl starts walking. Normally she walks all right, but the moment you become self-conscious, immediately the toppling down and then the catwalk, that's why it's called as catwalk. The human beings start walking a catwalk. Why? Because you have become self-conscious. But when you become self-aware, you are able to appreciate how your behavior, how your interaction in the world is. And in this manner, when we are properly organized, when we are properly demonstrating ourselves in the world, we are helping the society most indirectly but most effectively. According to Darwin, we are all apes, isn't it? Not according to our Vedanta Shastra. We don't accept that principle. So according to Darwin, if we are monkeys, then monkeys can learn very easily through imitating, isn't it? And therefore you will see in the metropolis here and there, whatever are the ideals presented in the Eves Weekly, Cows Weekly, Buffaloes Weekly, Donkeys Weekly, and all the different kinds of fashions and magazines and all that, that becomes the ideal, and everybody wants to become like that. Why? Because that is the ideal for me. So two things I have told you. First of all, we must be always aware that someone or the other in this world is definitely observing us or looking up to us. That if I want to really become something in life, I want to be like him or like her. Now, what is the type of thoughts that we entertain? Now here, this is very important thing. Any thought process that will talk of differences, any thought process that will support differences, any thought process that will create differences, and any thought process that will justify differences is a destructive thought process. And such a thought process should never be entertained by us in our life. Because when we talk of destruction or disintegration, we are digging our own grave. So the real creative life force is this positive thinking process, wherein we are able to discover the unity or oneness in spite of the diversity. That kind of thought process is a creative thought process. So now two aspects of our personality. First is our behavior in the world is such that we demonstrate an ideal for the world to follow. And second thing, that our thought process is such that we are able to adjust and see something creative and good in the destructive society around us. When these two things are brought together, our personality becomes integrated. And when our personality is integrated, then there is inner strength. And when there is inner strength, this inner strength will weaken the world around us. And then such pessimistic and depressed statement, why me, the world is too strong for me, will never come out of our mouth. See, we can bring the social change only when we have initiated that change from us. So, now after having understood this, let us see how the integration of our personality can help in bringing out the best in us. We all have this experience that many a times we are sitting somewhere, we are hearing something, we are thinking something, we are planning something, and the time passes, and afterwards we come to know that I have not understood anything. One example. Second example. Many a times we take the book for studies, and although we have all the sincerity to study, and yet we are unable to focus our mind and we are unable to understand. Now what is the reason? If this you understand, your all problems of concentration will disappear. The reason is we have trained our mind to do the wrong things. How we have trained our mind and what should be the remedial measure? Try only this thing, a very simple thing I am telling you. Whatever you are doing, do it with all sincerity and complete involvement. This is the general thing, nothing very serious. When you are taking food, enjoy every bite. Normally what we do, we have the, pakoda in our hand or a paratha in our hand, and the other side there is a newspaper, or there is a, not for you newspaper, your notes. I had to go for exam, this and that thing, and we are so confused. And then I forget whether I have to eat this and read this, or eat this and read this. Isn't it? The mind is confused. Hey, what do you want me to do? Whether you want me to eat the notes and read the eatable, or do the other way around. On the contrary, simple technique that I told you, just try. When you are walking, enjoy your every step that you walk with. Get yourself fully involved. When you are reading, get yourself completely lost in that reading. When you are writing, get fully involved in writing every alphabet that you are writing. Now further, when you are listening, other than listening, nothing else. When you develop this faculty, you will not be required to do the same job twice. Why we are required to do the same job twice? Because we are not satisfied with our own performance when we do something. When there is a possibility of improvement upon our own performance, that means we have not attained perfection. And friends, perfection, if it is attained in one go, then it is perfection. If it is again and again, you go on repairing, and somehow it is okay. It is not a joy of life. And this can happen only by the simple technique. Learn yourself to get involved, whatever you are doing, fully 100%. The result will be following. 1. You, without any special efforts, will learn the art of bringing all your faculties into perfection. You don't have to do any special effort for that. Second thing, you will never be bored in life. Do you know what is the meaning of boredom? Boredom means what? You have to do something but you don't enjoy it. This is called as boredom. So when we have to do something and we don't enjoy it, means what is happening? That time our mind is not with the action or the work that we are doing. And as a result, we drag ourselves in life. When we are dragging in life, we are carrying the load of death on our life. We are no more living life. Because the reason is only this. We have never learned that we have to introduce this change in us. And when in this manner, when every member of the society starts improving upon himself, then only the society will start changing in the right direction. But our hands are only in our hand. We cannot do anything to others. So, where from we start? We start from ourselves. Now, if this principle is understood, now what is the impact of this principle? The impact of this principle is that we are extremely integrated to such an extent that we develop an intuitive faculty by which we are able to peep beyond the known frontiers of knowledge. This is called as intuitive understanding. You know, all the great scientists in the world, they have discovered the great discoveries not by the routine mechanical training of the mind or the intellect, but they have discovered all these great things in that intuitive understanding. And this intuitive understanding is that when we are 100% available in the present. When we are 100% available in the present, our mind is completely, fully available. See, example I'll give you, in your this science exhibition or museum, the other day I went and they showed so many things. And one thing they showed, that when you put your palm on so many thousands of needles and press, it doesn't hurt you. But if you press with the same force only on one pin, it will definitely hurt you. So when they showed me that, my mind started working. That when our mind is dissipated into so many themes, Sometime about this, sometime about that, sometime about the past, sometime about the future, sometime about frustration, sometime about our own arrogance. And in this manner, the energy of the mind is dissipated into the past, present and future in a most disorganized manner. The force of the mind, the strength of the mind, the energy of the mind and the ability of the mind becomes totally blunt. On the contrary, like only one pin, and you press, that one pin will be able to pierce through. And those 1,000 pins are not able to. Why? Because it is distributed. When we develop this faculty, then we are able to apply the mind to a given job at a given time for a required length of time by our free choice. You have conquered the virus of mood. And when you don't function with moods, but when the mood is according to your requirement, then you see what a change will start coming in you. And out of us, when we all practice by the God's grace, when someone comes up who is chosen by the Lord, now one more step. Please remember, we all are in this world only for becoming a fit instrument. Beyond that, we can do nothing. For example, this power outlet strip. This power outlet strip has no purpose. It is just an instrument. Now, what for it is used, it is decided by someone else, the owner. In the same manner, we are all merely the instruments. What is to be God done through us will be decided by someone who has created us. Now, what is therefore our purpose? Our purpose is only to remain as a fit instrument so that we are chosen for the best job in this world. If we are not fit, we will never be chosen for something higher. And if we are not chosen for something higher, we will be one in millions, and then we cannot influence any change in the whole society. See, one day I was in Haryana, Hisar, and after my lectures were over, one person came. He said, "Swamiji, I want to tell you something." I said, "Yes, please tell." And he said, "You people, you Swamis, you come and stay in the rich men's homes." I was staying with in the family who was one of the first central minister in the first ministry of government of India. He was the home minister, some Bhargav. In their family I was staying. So I said, "Yes, what you tell is true. We people go and stay only in the houses of the rich people and all that. So now I will change. I will come with you and stay in your house. Because I have to stay somewhere. I have no place. So I will come with you. And I will take food also with you. And I have got about 10-15 people with me. They will also come and take food with you." "But Swamiji, I don't have car." I said, "Doesn't matter. We'll take a rickshaw and go. Anyway, you will pay for the rickshaw because I don't have money." And he said, No, I don't mean that." But I said, "I mean that." "You may not mean." And then I saw that I went to his house. And he was a pretty educated person. He was a professor in the college. And then he had his wife running one small school, some nursery, etc. And a small little house. And no proper drainage, no nothing. Flies and mosquitoes, all the typical village scene of Haryana. And he was so frustrated, and I was very comfortable. I was enjoying the whole show. And I made him sit in my rickshaw, and the rickshaw fellow was going. And after about half an hour we reached there. After going there, I told his wife, I said, "Amma, your husband is so sweet, he has called me to you to stay here, and I got 5-6 people, and we want to take food, first breakfast, then lunch, then evening tea, and then dinner, and then we'll sleep, and like this I'll stay for 1 week, okay? Now that wife and husband started dum dhadaka. He said, Swamiji, why did you do like that? I said, look here, if I tell you, you will not understand. The question is not where I stay. The question is the work that for I have come has to be completed. Now if the wisdom and the knowledge is given to a person who is the most unclaimed element of the society, that knowledge and wisdom will decay and die there itself. See, Bhagavad Gita was not addressed to an unknown soldier on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Bhagavad Gita was addressed to Arjuna, the top man of his time. And when the top person starts changing, the whole society starts changing. See? The other day, somebody asked me this question in UK. I was in the airport, and he came and he said, you seem to be Indian. I said, no, I don't seem to be, I am. Then he said, why you Indians are fighting over that Kashmir with Pakistan so foolishly? I said, same foolishness like the Irish people and you are fighting, the same thing. See? When we are living in this world, the most important thing is that we do not get influenced by the negative vibes of the world. Then there is a social change coming in us. Second thing, we become such a powerful magnetic center of power that we are able to influence the society in a creative manner. Like during the time of our freedom struggle, many of you may not be born that time. During that time, the whole Indian society had a galaxy of leaders who could inspire millions simultaneously. And it is those great inspiring leaders that have brought change in the society. Now today what is happening is lack of this one particular thing. We have talents, we have abilities, we have everything, but we have no the guiding factor. And that guiding factor has to be discovered by us, within us, if it is not available outside. And this is how the dynamics of social change starts working from your end and slowly percolates around you. And if this is done, then alone we are leading a life of awareness. And when we lead the life of awareness, then we also change, and our change is also influencing the people around us. And the net result is there is a community of inspired people living together in a creative manner. See, one of the reasons that I like to visit your BITS Pilani is this. Here I have seen people from all walks of life, whether it is the cleaner in the guest house or your director, the top man. I have moved among all of them. Very rare combination of people with this dedication and with this commitment. And that's why your institution has got name all the world over. And it is not only just a matter of creation overnight. No. It has taken years together to build this rapport, to build this name and goodwill in the society. Anything great takes time, to grow and mature. Anything great to be destroyed can be done in no time. The social change in the society is a very gradual process. And for that gradual process, what is required is patience, commitment, and readiness and ability to change ourselves, and thus let every member of the society start changing himself or herself. The whole society is bound to change. By telling somebody nobody has changed till date, unless we want to change, nobody can help us. Sri Krishna Narayana. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.